Donald Trump has destroyed women on television for 40 years. He's mocked them, rated them, grabbed them, and bragged about it. But on one October night in Manhattan, a black woman from Dallas walked onto Fox News and made him do something he'd never done before in his entire public life. Run. Not pivot. Not deflect. Not claim victory while losing. Run. Actually run, rip the microphone off his lapel, and flee the stage while cameras were still rolling, while millions of Americans watched, while his own sons chased after him like handlers trying to catch a spooked horse. By the time the broadcast cut to an emergency commercial break, 6 veterans had already walked out of the studio, 14 women were crying, and one phrase was burning its way across every social media platform on earth. She read him for filth. But here's the thing nobody expected. It wasn't the documents that broke him. It wasn't the court records, or the testimony, or the exposed lies. It was what he almost said. The word that hung in the air, unsaid but heard by everyone. The word that proved once and for all who Donald Trump really is when the mask finally slips, and she just stood there waiting, daring him to finish his sentence. He couldn't. The setup had been perfect, or so Trump's team believed. When Fox News announced the special primetime event, Leadership in America, a conversation with President Trump and Congresswoman Crockett, the campaign celebrated like they'd already won. Home turf, friendly moderators, an audience pre-screened for maximum MAGA energy. What could possibly go wrong? She's a public defender from Dallas, Trump told his inner circle in the green room 40 minutes before airtime. He was adjusting his tie, red as always, hanging past his belt buckle like a declaration of war against good taste. I've eaten better lawyers than her for breakfast. She probably got into law school on affirmative action. This is going to be beautiful. Eric Trump nodded with the enthusiasm of a golden retriever promised a treat. 10 minutes, Dad. Maybe 15. She won't know what hit her. The ratings are going to be incredible. Trump examined himself in the mirror, satisfied. People love watching me win. 4 floors below, in a smaller preparation room that smelled of stale coffee and determination, Jasmine Crockett was arranging 7 folders on the table in front of her. Each one color-coded. Each one thick with documents. Each one representing a different way to end a man's political career on live television. Her chief of staff, Marcus Chen, watched with growing unease. You know he's going to come after you personally. The low IQ stuff. The racial dog whistles. He always does it with black women. I know, Crockett said without looking up. And you're okay with that? Now she looked up, and Marcus saw something that made him take an involuntary step backward. Not anger. Something colder. More patient. The look of a chess player who has already seen the checkmate 12 moves ahead. Marcus, I spent 6 years as a public defender in Dallas County. I've had judges scream at me until their faces turned purple. I've had prosecutors try to break me with tricks that would make these Fox News people blush. I've had clients, actual murderers, threaten my life because they didn't like my advice. She closed the final folder with a soft, definitive click. Donald Trump calling me names on television is not going to ruin my day. But what I have in these folders is going to ruin his. Marcus swallowed. How many of those are you planning to use? Crockett picked up 6 folders, leaving one behind. If I need the 7th, she said, something has gone very wrong. At 8:58 p.m. Eastern, both participants took their positions. The Fox News studio gleamed under lights hot enough to make anyone sweat, though only one of them would be sweating by the end of the night. The live audience of 250 Americans settled into their seats. MAGA hats here. Worried. Independents there. A scattering of veterans in the back wearing service caps. Brett Baer stood at center stage projecting calm authority. He had no idea. 30 seconds. Trump rolled his shoulders like a boxer entering the ring. Crockett stood perfectly still, hands folded, expression unreadable. The red lights came on. Trump seized control immediately. Let me just say something before we start, he interrupted. I've seen this woman on television. Not impressed. Very low IQ. Probably got into law school on affirmative action. Applause. Crockett waited. Then spoke calmly. Affirmative action is an interesting accusation, Mr. President. Let's talk about how we both got into school. The grin flickered. She offered facts. He offered volume. She offered documents. He offered ego. Silence fell. Facts landed. Contractors unpaid. Veterans betrayed. Immigrants exploited. Charity stolen. Women abused. Soldiers insulted. Classified documents stacked next to a toilet. And then, finally, when he was cornered, when there was nowhere left to pivot, nowhere left to deflect, nowhere left to lie, he lost control. You're a nasty woman. He stopped. Everyone heard the word he didn't say. Crockett waited. Finish your sentence. He couldn't. He ripped off the microphone and ran. Cameras rolling. America watching. I didn't make you look like anything, Crockett said calmly. I just showed people who you've always been. By midnight, the clips were everywhere. He almost said it, trended worldwide. Poll numbers shifted. Veterans walked away. Grandmothers cried. And Trump posted through the night, rage replacing reason, never once denying the facts. Days later, when asked if she'd debate him again, Crockett smiled, not kindly. I'm available, she said, but only if he's willing to finish his sentence this time.